You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of truth. A dimension of freedom. A dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the capitalist corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the capitalist corner.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Capitalist Corner. I am your host, Mark Pellegrino, and also the chairman of the American Capitalist Party, along with my co-host and vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, Michael Leibowitz, who is also the host of many of his own shows. Michael, why don't you tell us what's going on with all of your shows over the next week?
And while I do that, why don't you go to X and share this from X?
By the way, I needed to have a conference with you before this show.
Well, where were you?
I was there, but you gave me the wrong thing, and then I went on to the other site that you sent, and then all of a sudden banging into this.
I must have sent Persephone the wrong one as well. Okay, well, I screwed up. I do that from time to time. I also host, of course, The Rational Egoist. I host Everyday Ethics, which will be on today at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You and I do Self-Made Soul on the weekends, and we also do our Patreon from time to time. Aside from that, we are the chairperson, vice chairperson of the American Capitalist Party, though this show is in no way affiliated with the American Capitalist Party. But on today's show, we have a very special guest. We have the Libertarian Party candidate for governor of New York. He has ran for governor of New York twice before. He has pursued the Libertarian Party's candidacy for vice president, and he is Hope of the Sharpe Way. He's also a very good-looking gentleman and quite charming. And without further ado, Larry Sharpe.
How are you?
Welcome.
How are you? We are the good thing is we are all good-looking men, so I think that's the advantage. So
all right, fair enough.
For those people who are watching, I want to make sure, guys, those who are watching, understand this is not GQ. We can be smart also, okay? So don't think we're not smart because we're good looking. Keep going.
It's true. Sorry. Some of us are smarter than others, I'm just going to say. And maybe that's because I got beat with a little extra of the ugly stick.
We'll forgive you for that, Michael.
We'll let you go.
All right.
Welcome.
Mark, you want me to dive in?
Yeah, dive in.
All right, Larry, I interviewed you the other day, so some of these questions are going to be redundant, but that's fine. You and I have talked about the hot mess that is the Libertarian Party. True. Politics is a hot mess in general. Whenever you get involved, you open yourself up to a lot of derision from people who ought to be supporting you, but don't. Why in God's name do you do it?
Well, there are several reasons. I think, and I've said this before to you, and I think to most people, the liberty movement is huge. There's a lot of people in it who are doing a lot of different things, and I think we need all of those things. I'm a military guy, Marine Corps, and we know I need my air wing, I need my tankers, I need my artillery, I need my infantry. We need all the aspects to make this thing work. We need combined arms, and the thing that I'm good at, that I will put up with, is I'll run for office. And most people in the liberty movement will not do it. They won't do it because of what you just said. It's a disaster. You get backstabbed. You get attacked. You're never good enough. They're worried about virtue signaling more than anything else. None of your policies are perfect. Nothing is amazing. It's all just mediocre. And because of that, people don't do it. Or they do it one time, recognize how bad it is, and then never do it again. I'm the idiot who keeps going. But when it comes to the party, let me cover the second part with the party. The party is only one part of the liberty movement. Right? It's huge. It's one aspect of it. When it comes to the party, it has one important asset and only one. And this will make many people unhappy, but there is only one: ballot access. Ballot access across this country is a $30 million asset that only right now Republicans, Democrats have. Libertarians have had it in the past. And when they did, they had Gary Johnson, which was our biggest electoral victory ever, with almost 3% of the vote, 4% of the vote, which was huge for us. More people became Libertarians, even heard of us because of Gary Johnson, because of that having 50 state ballot access. The only way to get ballot access in New York State is through a statewide election. The only person, and I'm not joking when I say this, no hubris, in the entire country, scratch that, the only person in the world who could actually get ballot access for an independent party, and who would do it, to your earlier point, is me. There are other people who could do it, but they would never do it. I'm the only guy who both can do it and will do it. And because I'm the only guy, I should do it.
Yeah, I don't think Dave Smith is lining up to run for governor.
No, he's not going to run for office. No, he's not running for office. Most of those guys aren't going to run for office. That's not what they do, right? They go off and do this kind of thing, right? When you do that, don't get me wrong, guys like Dave Smith and all the rest, they do their bit and they bring people in and they bring their controversy and people know our name. It's fine. They do what they do. That's not what I do. I'm about getting electoral answers, electoral value, ballot access, and more importantly, as you know, I am an actual policy guy. You know, I don't talk about things like, well, in theory, this or that or this. If you ask me, I'll tell you. But I'm much more concerned about how can I move the world towards liberty today? How can I get the world that I'm in, people to say yes with the world that I'm in right now? How do I change culture so that I can change policy? I'm concerned about those issues far more than, you know, getting clicks. I mean, I like clicks. Guys, click the like button right now because I like clicks. Do that. But
thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, we do. We like likes.
So does the algorithm, folks. So remember to click the like and subscribe button.
Correct.
So what, Michael, I may be jumping the ship here, but what will you do if you should get into office? What would be the first thing you would do getting into office?
There are so many things we have to do. It's insane how bad the state is broken, right? And the most important to do is to do things that I can use the amount of political capital required to move things forward. Because when I win, I will have an advantage versus a Republican who would just win. A Republican who would win will have no independence. I will have an independence. What does that mean? In my current situation in my state, the assembly is supermajority Democrat. I will never control the assembly. It's impossible. However, my Senate, if I just get 5 to 10 people to become independent, either We the People Party, Libertarian Party, something, that block vote can actually control the Senate via swing vote. If I can control the Senate via swing vote, I can negotiate to get things done. Otherwise, I have no power. It's nice. I'm the governor, and that's wonderful, but I guess I'll just go on TV and talk shit. But I'd rather not do that. I'd rather actually get something done. So because I'll also be an independent candidate, I'm actually, by the way, considering running on the Republican line also. I'm considering taking the Republican line now because I'll cover that in a second. Let me cover your point, then I'll go to that second point. If I do that, I can now negotiate. And one of the biggest things I have to do in New York State is deal with our financial issues. It's one of the biggest issues. We're really in trouble. And we're not the federal government, so we can't just make magic money. So we have that problem. If we can make magic money, I'll just kick it down the road for another 100 years. We'll just keep printing magic money. I can't do that. So I've got to actually do something. I want to create a sovereign fund for New York State, which is a New York State social trust, similar to what Singapore has, Norway has, that kind of thing. Now, it must be a separate company, not part of the government, with a separate CEO and a separate board. So they all get paid. They have to make money with an actual charter that says their first goal is to pay for education. If they pay for education in New York State, several things happen. This is why this is a critical aspect, because multiple things come from this. Once that happens, there's no need for school tax. School tax goes away. That cuts property tax across New York State, depending on where you are in the state, about 50%, which means now property tax is cut in half for most New Yorkers, right? All those who own. So I want to shift right into that immediately. When that begins to happen, now property tax comes down, more people will stay, more people are spending money in my state. New York State's biggest problem is migration. We lose about 300,000 people every single year leave New York State. We've already lost a congressperson. And if we change how we count people, we now count migrants. We didn't count migrants before. If we didn't count migrants this time, we'd have lost 2 people. And if they go back, and Trump is trying to go back to not counting migrants, if that happens, we'll lose 2 more again in 2030 because our population keeps going down. We'll just keep losing people. So I've got to stop that. That's one way of doing it, but I'm still not done. If we do that now and the money comes directly from the trust, there's no money coming from the state, no money coming from the federal government. My goal overall is being to cut ties from the federal government. Now, most people don't know this. They go, well, you have to do what the federal government says. No, you don't. They're not going to send troops in and arrest our teachers. That's not a thing. How they control us is through money. Do what we say, or we don't give you our magic money we just printed last week. We don't give that to you. And if I spend more time saying, hey, I don't require your magic money anymore, then they have no power over me. So as I do that more and more, now what happens in local school districts is I now have more localism, meaning that now local people actually control their own budgets. Local people can decide if they want shop, if they want to support, home ec, if they want to have civics in their school, they can. Right now, they can't. And people go, it's because they're wokesters. That's not why. It's because the federal government says, all I care about is your test, and your test is ELA and math. So just do ELA and math. Shop is not in a test, so don't put shop. Civics is not a test, don't do civics. If it's not in a test, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to give you money, so stop it. Not just that. Our state right now pushes kids to not go into the trades at all. Don't do trades. Trades for the dumb kids. Trades for the bad kids. Don't do it. Why? Because wokesters. No, not because wokesters. Because the federal government gives them more money based upon their placement into colleges. So when they get placed in the college, they get more money. So once I cut those strings, kids can actually go to shop and become welders or carpenters or plumbers or whatever they want to become. They can now do that. The incentives change. So that one piece changes multiple incentives, right? So, and also assists with localism, and also begins to let local people have local budgets. So that's probably the first thing. For those of you who are policy wonks, if you actually care, go to my YouTube page, Larry Sharpe YouTube, and type in 8 hours. I literally did 8 hours live of New York State policy without a bathroom break, without a chow break. I just sat there and did it. And it's time-stamped. So if you care about what issue you care about, it's time-stamped there. I could go on literally, Mark, for 8 hours. I was good to you. I just did like a couple minutes.
I love it. I love it. Hey, doesn't Mike Rowe have some kind of organization now where he does? Yeah. And people there's a real market for this, because kids are graduating college, $100,000, $200,000 in debt. And they are really, really disillusioned the second they leave the gates of college. They're discovering college is not necessarily the way to making a great living. But you know what? Being a welder, they make $150K a year. They're doing good. So this is making a comeback. I remember when we had shop class. Michael, did you have shop class when you were going?
I had shop.
And, man, I took all that stuff too.
There was shop class. I didn't go, but I didn't go to any of my classes. So
wood class, metal class, I did all of that stuff. That was great.
And it was a piece where people learned how to fix things. Yeah. People learned how to do things. People felt like they could actually achieve something, right? That was the issue. We've been lying to our kids for decades, and now AI is whipping our ass because of it. I talked about this on Joe Rogan in 2018. In 2018, I've been talking about this for 8 years. This plan I talk about of changing my school system from K through 12 to K through 10. That's another thing we have to do. Get rid of the last 2 years because they're useless. It's weed, smoking weed, playing video games, and home ec, whatever the hell. I don't know what it is. It's not any school. The average kid takes 6 years to graduate college because they're not ready for it, because it's 13th grade. It's a disaster. Make those last 2 years what would be the liberal arts of college. Give kids a chance, right? At 10th grade, once you're in 10th grade, you should be able to get a high school diploma if you want to, right? Take a test. If you pass the test, high school diploma. Right now in New York State, if you don't go to a public school or a publicly funded school or a private school that follows rules, you cannot get a high school diploma. It must be a GED. Yeah, I know it's insanely stupid, because only New York State matters for some dumb reason. That should go away. I don't care if you're homeschooled, private school, I don't care. And the money that comes from the trust to pay, there's a credit for people who want to homeschool and or private school their kids to assist people in having more choice in schools. And the money, of course, follows the kid, which is natural. So now you'll have better schools, less administrators, the whole deal. But I went off. Let me go back to my K through 10. After 10th grade, you take a test. If you pass that test, you now have a high school diploma. Now you have 5 options. I'm going to follow the same model that happened when I was in the Marine Corps. When I got in the Marine Corps gave me the GI Bill at the time. I think it was $100,000 or whatever it was, what the number was. And I had 10 years to use it. And that for go to college. Oh, maybe 50 grand. I forgot what the number. I didn't use it. I forgot what it was. I got my college degree when I was in the Marine Corps. Anyway, so we give it to our kids. You got $20,000 and 5 years to use it. Good luck. Here's what will happen. There'll be 5 options for kids. Option number 1. Hey, I think I want to go to college. I'm a super smart kid. I'm the brilliant kid. I can go to college right now. Take your 20 grand, go to college right now. Go to college at 16, 17. If you're that smart, you're the smart, brilliant kid who can take so awesome. Go do it. Okay. You're not that kid. You're the kid who goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go to college, but I'm not sure. Great. Go to a 2-year prep school. Go to a 2-year prep school. Pay your 20 grand for that, because every school popping up will cost 20 grand. How do I know that? It's guaranteed government money, and it always costs whatever the government will give. That's how it always works. So every 2-year school will cost $20,000. So boom, you'll give it. And if you say, Larry, that's expensive, we spend $36,000 per year per kid right now. So that's a bargain. Any case, so they'll go to that and they'll figure out what they want to do. Or they say, hey, I want to go into trades. Go to trade school now at 16, 17. Go do it. Now it's 2 years later, and you're either going to have a license, depending upon what you go for, or you're going to be in an apprentice program, whatever the case may be. Go make money at 18 years old. You're set. You want to do that? No worries. Decide you want to go get a job. Go get a job. People get mad all the time. You libertarians, you want child labor. Shut up. 16, 17 years old is totally fine to work. This is not like, 1805. I'm going to get caught and killed in a loom accident or whatever, or a bobbin, whatever accident. It's not going to happen, right? Someone's going to go work someplace and get a work ethic and learn how to actually work, which is good. One of the things you find people who are hiring, I hear this all the time, Larry, I will hire anybody with a work ethic. I'll train the rest. I just want someone to show up. And I want kids to learn that when they're 16, 17 years old, learn that when your boss says show up at 9, he means 8:45, not 10:30. And they'll figure that out when they're 16, 17, 18. So by the time they're 19, they know how to work. They know when the boss says 9, he means 8:45. They'll figure that out. Right now, most kids who are 24 don't know that yet. They think, well, he said morning, so 11:45 is morning, so I showed up. Why is he mad? I'm going to sue him now for firing me. That's today's world. Let's change that. That, by the way, is why you see, people don't know why you see this. I talk about real stuff because I'm in the real world. That's why you see right now job applications with entry level 5 years experience. That makes no sense. How can there be entry level and 5 years experience? That's to get rid of Gen Zers. That's because they're lazy. They believe the concept is Gen Zs actually aren't lazy. It's actually true, but it's the image they're lazy. And the reason is Gen Z is actually looking for meaning more than work. Right? That's the truth. Millennials began that. Gen Xers and boomers, we got our meaning from someplace else. So we didn't care if our job was to get paid. Our job was to make money. We took it professionally. We did it. We cared about it. If we didn't get meaning, we didn't care. We still worked. And we found meaning someplace else. We joined the Elks Club. We joined the local group that we cared about. We joined our church group. We did other things that mattered to us. The youngsters don't do that. They want their work to be their passion. They want their work to be their mission. So if they don't have mission, they don't work. But if you find them, you find some of them. You look at some Gen Zs and younger millennials. If they're working in some place where they believe it is the real thing, they will work 20 hours a day. They will sleep under their desk. They will work hard. But they want meaning in their work, where Gen X and boomers, it wasn't that important. We liked it, but we'd find it someplace else. The problem is they don't have third spaces, right? The Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and a lot of younger millennials do not have third spaces. So they don't have that third space to go that many of us had where we found meaning. They don't have that. So they look at it in their work or, sadly, social media. So I went way off, but my point being, these are all things I'm talking about. Now let me go to the most important piece, which is, I'm sorry, am I taking this over? I apologize. I can
Please do.
That means we have to work less. So
there we go. So I'm being good. You're a Gen Z after all, Michael. I knew you were. So yes. So I'm considering actually also taking the Republican line too. In my state, New York State, we have what's called fusion voting, which means you can be literally listed on multiple lines at the same time. And all the lines together count, right? They all count. So I'm already going to be running as a Libertarian and also in the We the People Party line. But recently, if you guys paying attention to New York politics at all, Elise Stefanik was actually running as the front runner for the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. She dropped out after taking millions of dollars. She dropped out. What a coincidence that is! And now she's selling a book. What are you going to do? So anyway, she leaves. So she backs out, and a guy named Blakeman steps in. No one knows who Blakeman is. Blakeman is a disaster. Most Republicans are pissed off. They don't like it at all. They're unhappy. So I said, oh, okay, maybe it's time for me to step in. How do I know that? People started calling me. Republicans started calling me going, Larry, come on in, run. You could do this. This is your time. You could win. I'm thinking about it now. I'm actually considering also running in the Republican primary. How that would work logistically is I would literally go get the lines for Libertarian and We the People in April. I'd have those lines. I'd run the Republican primary, already having those lines in June. If I win that primary, I get the Republican line. And by default, because the Conservative Party in my state is a puppet party, it just does whatever Republicans do. If they'd give me that line, I'd get Republican, Conservative, Libertarian, We the People. I would have 4 of the Infinity Stones before I become inevitable.
What's the downside to doing that? Why not?
Well, there's several reasons why I would not do it. Number one is it just some kind of a ploy to Republicans to get me to change my registration of Republican and to say I'm a Republican or something like that? Is it that? Are they going to just say they're going to support me and then not support me and stab me in the back? Look, it's politics. Who knows? Are they then going to just back Blakeman anyway and throw money at Blakeman instead of throwing any money at me, and then I lose the primary on purpose? Are they going to try to convince me to not run independent? It's not going to work. Republicans, if you're listening, it's not going to work. Are they going to try to get me to not run independent and bribe me into going into Republican and not run independent to keep the independent parties off the line? I haven't walked down the road, but there are many things that could be wrong, right? That could go wrong. Theoretically, it's politics. And then remember, in politics it's the mafia. It's the mob. That's what it is. You don't enforce contracts by legality. There's no legality in this. There's none. They do whatever they want, whenever they want. Legality means nothing. There's no courts to go to, no cops. You enforce your contracts via leverage, just like the mob. That's it. Now, leverage is three things in politics: money, votes, eyeballs. If you have money, votes, and eyeballs, you have leverage. Luckily, I have some of each. Not as much money as I'd like, but I do have some eyeballs, and I got 100,000 votes last time I ran. So I got some votes, and I got some eyeballs. So I got some of those. So I have a little bit of leverage. The point is, do I have enough leverage to enforce that contract, Michael? I don't know if I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that we have a question here. Why can't 99% of libertarians be 20% as smart as Larry?
Well, because they are concerned about virtue signaling more than anything else. That's the reason. Virtue signaling is more important. I say this all the time. Libertarians winning arguments and losing elections for 50 years.
Okay. Tell us.
Right. You're laughing because I'm right.
Tell us a little bit about ballot access. You mentioned that's a big problem.
It is.
And also match funding.
Yes, absolutely. The issue here, ballot access and matching funds, both. When it comes to ballot access, New York State goes out of its way to crush everyone from being on the ballot except Democrats, Republicans. Out of its way. And how do I know this? What's my evidence of this? Because I'm mad. I am mad. But that isn't my evidence. My evidence is last year, New York State was the only state in the entire union that did not have any independent candidates on the ballot for president. The only one. There were states that had 6, 7, 8 on the ballot for president. New York had 0. The only one. That's number one. Number two, the year before that, 2022, 2 years before, sorry, the cycle before that, 2022. It was the first time in New York State's history in 80 years, 100 years, when New York State had no independent candidate on the ballot for governor. They removed them. And that's all because of the rules they put in the year before. Those rules are totally arbitrary. You might go, but Larry, you got to have rules. Okay. Then why don't Republicans, Democrats ever do it? They don't. The rules are only for independents. And somehow our judges in my state go, that sounds good to me. That's how horrible my judges are. I know, because I went to court 8 times and lost 8 times. So I know that. The rules are blatantly unconstitutional, blatantly wrong, blatantly arbitrary. There's no reason for them whatsoever. And our judges go, yep, sounds good. They are totally happy with it. They don't care at all. Now, that's getting really bad because the evidence is mounting. RFK Jr. couldn't get ballot access in New York State. And you may like or not like RFK Jr., it doesn't matter. He spent $1 million and he's a Kennedy. If he can't get on the ballot, nobody can, right? Whether, again, he's a Kennedy in New York State with $1 million and he can't get on the ballot. It is impossible. I'll go one step further. In 2022, our Republican nominee for governor, who was a sitting congressman at the time, tried to get ballot access as an independent party to get a secondary line. He failed. So the Republican nominee, who is a sitting congressman who raised $11 million, could not get ballot access. A Kennedy who spent $1 million could not get ballot access. That's how I'm going to get ballot access. That's how I'm going to. So that is what New York State does to get rid of it. Why? It wants to retain a one-party state. But here's the problem for Republicans right now. Republicans are in big trouble. What I mean by that, Republicans are almost into a spot where they will no longer be able to run statewide candidates at all. I'm not exaggerating. Now, what's my example of this? Again, I give you evidence of everything I'm talking about. Nebraska and Utah. Nebraska and Utah are deep red states, not deep blue, right? I'm obviously deep blue. They're deep red. For U.S. Senate, not state Senate, United States Senate in D.C., the Democrats did not run a candidate in either state. I'm not joking. They did not run a candidate because no one will do it. To Michael's earlier point, running for office is fucking punishment. It is punishment. It's what it is. It is punishment. You just get attacked. You just get scolded. If you can't raise a bunch of money to be worth it, why would you do it? They won't do it. No one will do it. And here's the issue, right? You go back to 2022, Lee Zeldin ran. Well, Lee Zeldin was fine. He could raise tons of money. He knew he was going to lose, but he had $4 million in his pocket afterwards. After that $4 million, he put into a PAC. This is legal, by the way. It's, in my view, unethical, but utterly legal. He puts into a PAC, makes himself the director of the PAC, and then pays himself a salary every year. And that's how he gets the money.
Yeah.
That's happens all the time. That's the norm, by the way. That is the norm. Now, Stefanik was going to do exactly the same thing. She was going to go do it. She was going to raise her million. She already raised like $2-3 million in the first month. $2-3 million. And she's selling a book now. So she's going to go sell her book and get her $2-3 million. And then when it's over, not fight at all. And then at the end, she'll have $4 million in her pocket, do exactly the same thing. Right? Well, that makes sense. Would you, Michael, get your ass kicked publicly for $4 million? Yeah, many people would. A lot of people would do that.
Yeah, I get it done for free. So
correct. Yes. So now do it for $4 million. Yeah, of course you. Lots of people would. But the problem is once you can't raise money anymore, now you're doing it for free. And people go, I'm not doing that shit for free. No, I'll do it for $4 million. I'm not doing it for free. And the problem is once Lisa Stefanik's fundraising started to dry up, and it did, then Blakeman said, oh, she's a disaster. She doesn't want to fight this. I'll jump in because Blakeman is over 70. It's his last hoorah. So he's jumped, and he is currently a Nassau County executive. So he's popping in. I'll take care of this. Stefanik saw that and ran away. The problem is now you can't get anybody to do it. And my other example is New York City. In New York City this year with Mamdani winning, the Republican was Curtis Sliwa. Curtis Sliwa was a very popular New Yorker. And if you know New York, he's very popular. He started the Guardian Angels back in the 70s. People know who he is. You see he's red berated. Hey, Curtis. Everyone knows who he is. He's very popular. He got 7% of the vote. Not 17, not 70, 7. He ran twice. Why did he run twice? Because nobody else would do it. Why? Because New York City is 6-1 Democrat to Republican. That's why he got 7% of the vote. How are you going to find somebody to run Republican in New York City? You're not. How are you going to find somebody to run Republican in New York State in the next couple cycles? You're not. The only answer is independent parties. The only answer. That's why I'm the guy.
There's a question here. What would you do as far as minimum wage? By the way, we have super chats and super stickers just to beg for money a little bit. Yeah. What would you do as far as the minimum wage, Larry?
There's no need to change minimum wage. It's already being raised already. The minimum wage is going up to New York State to what? I think it's on its way to $20, I think, in New York City. And I think outside the city, 18 or something like that. There's a difference in New York State between the city and outside the city. New York City has a higher minimum wage than outside the city does. There's only about 4% or less of New York State workers are on minimum wage. So no need to do that. Instead, what we want to do is do something else that's actually better than that. And that leave minimum wage alone. No need to touch it. It's not a thing I need to fight. I don't want to spend any political capital on it. Leave it alone. It's fine the way it is. And instead, I'm going to do something else. I want to look at New York State's income tax. Once I start having my New York State trust begin to raise money, I can now take the income tax and make a shift on income tax. New York State right now brings in about $80 to $90 billion every year in income tax. So I want to take that income tax and I want to make it a flat fee. Right now, depending on where you are, it's around 4%, give or take, around New York State. So Lars is not wrong. It is 0. And sadly, many people are seeing that. But if we don't do something, it won't be, Lars. If we don't do something, what's going to happen is UBI. I'll cover that in a second. Let me go to the first piece before I get there. But so it will wind up being UBI. That's the future if we don't do something. So
you have to tell people what UBI is in case
UBI is universal basic income. And the government gives everybody a check every month. Everyone's talking about it. If we don't do something, and I'll talk about that in a minute, I'll cover that issue if you want to. But if we don't do something, that is the future if we don't do something. Because, and it's in the process of being done already. I think it's about 60 million or 80 million Americans already get some kind of check from the government every single month. And it's getting more and more and more. It just keeps going. So you're gonna, all right, let me do my first piece and I'll go to that one. All right, let me pick one piece at a time. I will cover the UBI piece in a second also. So, all right, what was I talking about again? Oh, minimum wage. Great. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Leave minimum wage alone. It is not worth the attack on it at all. Just leave it and deal with income tax instead. Income tax in New York State is around 4%. Make it a flat 4% period across the entire state. 4% no matter what. No deductions, no nothing. 4% period. Simple. How much you make times 0.04, you owe that. Done. That's the first thing, right? Next piece after that, it goes down 0.5% every year for 8 years down to 0. But Larry, you're a libertarian. Don't you want to get rid of income tax? I do, but my state's already $400 billion in debt. I'm $400 billion in the hole, right? And if I just throw things away, what will happen? Immediately, people beg for a strongman. They beg for authoritarianism. Unhappy people want socialism. Unhappy people want authoritarianism. Happy people don't want that. So let's work on that piece and make that work. So I wouldn't touch minimum wage at all. Leave it alone. Bring down the income tax, and then eventually also work on, at the same time, business tax. Business tax across New York State is around 6%. Again, flat fee, 6%, period, flat fee, 6%. Bring it down 0.5% every year for 8 years, down to 2%. It will be the lowest in the entire country. Right now, the lowest in the country is North Carolina at 2.5%. We will go to 2% and beat North Carolina. North Carolina is growing because of that. Because of that, it's happening. All right, I went down that road. Let me touch UBI if I could. UBI is going to
Hold on 1 second. We got a super chat from somebody new, so I just want to make sure that we read it out. The other ones were just telling us they love us, but this one actually says, for $5, Philip Vecchio says, Larry has pragmatism when it comes to policies that are politically acceptable, but directionally capitalist, reducing regulations and central power.
True. Phil is correct. I am all about localizing to the best of our ability. And the problem is, before I go to UBI, let me go to Mamdani if I could.
Oh,
Mamdani,
not him.
No. Mamdani's important. He's very important. Actually, for those of you who know, I know Mamdani until next week. He's still officially my assemblyman, believe it or not. Yes. I live in the belly of the beast, as I say. Mamdani's my assemblyman and AOC is my congressperson. So I live on the front lines. So yeah, someone's got to fight the front lines. Come on, Mark. Someone's got to do it. I'm doing it. I'm the guy. I'm in the trenches. It's fine.
Thank you. Better you than me.
There we go. Someone's got to do it. I'll take that one. So the point being with that is I knew him already. I still know him. I interviewed him on my show 2 years ago. I knew he was a powerhouse back then. So he's important because he's charismatic and he has answers. You may not like his answers, but he has them. And when people have the option of no answer or a bad answer, they take the bad answer because it's an answer. So when I have no answer, just bootstraps or whatever garbage people say, that's not an answer. That's a scolding. So I got a scolding or I got a bad answer. I take bad answer. And Mamdani knows that. And he gave a lot of bad answers. People said, I'll take those. They thought, my life sucks, but at least with him, I get free buses. Fine. My life sucks, free buses. Done deal. And it was that simple. So I think that part was important for them to understand. Next piece on Mamdani. The socialists think he's one of them. Sadly, he actually isn't. The modern day socialists, not the old school socialists, will tell you this all the time. You don't understand, Michael. This is not about a Soviet Union. That wasn't real socialism. I'm going to tell you what the real socialism is, right? And that is workers owning the means of production. And when you say that, I go, I'm not against that. I think co-ops are wonderful. Enjoy, as long as it's not forced. You volunteer to decide. You can be the Amish if you want to. I don't mind. Go be Amish. Life is good. They're socialists and they want to be that way. It's voluntary. Enjoy. I don't have a co-op farm. Go ahead. I'm in. You do you, man. I love it. Right? But then you look at someone like Mamdani, and I went through his policies. Again, if someone cares, I literally go to my Larry Sharpe YouTube page. I went down at 3 different shows. I went down every one of his policies online, every one of them. Not one of them has ownership involved at all. All of it is centralized control. All of it centralized planning. All of it government seizing of property. He is literally Soviet. I'm not making that up. He is literally Soviet. He's not the modern day socialist. I'm more of a modern day socialist because I'm okay with credit unions. I'm okay with co-ops. Enjoy. You do you. I don't mind that at all. He is like, no, I will have control. And his most recent thing, if you saw the most recent thing, is now community groups and non-government organizations get to buy your property if you sell it before you can sell to anybody you want because, community and stuff. Yeah. That's
Larry, here's a question from, I don't know how to pronounce this, Lil J612 with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Wants to know, would your plan help small businesses? It's tough to start a business when minimum wage is $20 an hour.
Yeah, there's two ways we want to help small businesses in general. There's many, but I'll give you two. The one I talked about earlier, of course, is the income tax, which would help, obviously. But not just that. This is directly towards them. Number one, I want to follow a rule that right now is in Wyoming for farmers, but I want to make this rule all over New York State. If you are a small business owner, and including farmers, and you decide that you will sell only in New York State, and it's just by registering, that's all it is, just only in New York State, then you will be immune from all federal regulatory bodies. All federal regulatory bodies, you're immune. What does that do? It means when you're competing against the big boys, they all have to have double the amount of lawyers, double the amount of accountants, double the amount of everything because they're doing multiple, regulations. You're not. You're just doing local. So it gives you an advantage on admin. Admin is one of the biggest costs of any small business. So that goes on immediately. Now, I've also did something else. I made your taxation grossly simple. You don't require an accountant for your taxing anymore in that regard. It's just straight 6%, 4% straight. That's it. So I've cut your admin costs tremendously, number one. Number two, if you are going to hire felons, and I want my felon population is getting larger and larger in New York State because we just make tons of laws, make tons of felons.
I feel like everyone's looking at me.
That's you. That's not, no. When I talk about it, my mom was a felon. So I bring up my mother all the time. And my mother was able to get herself back in action by being hired by small businesses. Large businesses go out of their way to not hire felons, right? They have a lot of policies and things to just stop felons because there's a liability aspect there. So what I would say is instead, if you hire a felon in New York State, you don't pay any payroll tax on that felon for 2 years. If more than 50% of your hiring is felons, you pay zero payroll tax for 2 years as long as you keep them more than 51%. You keep it. You keep doing it. Now, people's going to say, wait a minute, Larry, payroll tax. Payroll tax is maybe 80%, 75%, depending on where you are, of your salaries. I'm not joking. That's how high payroll tax can get, depending upon what you're doing, how you're going. So now I've just basically lowered what you're paying. So if you're paying someone $20 an hour, you add payroll tax, you're probably paying them 30. Remove payroll tax, you're actually only paying them 10. So I've actually just lowered your actual cost of businesses paying by not having to pay payroll tax. So that will assist tremendously. I go, Larry, wait a minute. Someone will just hire a felon for 2 years, fire him, and keep hiring felons so you never pay payroll tax. Good, you're training my felons. That's amazing. Thank you. It's a whole lot cheaper than keeping people in prison for goddamn years. Good. I'll lose the payroll tax. You train my felon population so they can actually get jobs and stay out of jail. Good deal. I've incentivized people to do this. Note every single thing I put together, everything you heard me talk, in not one case is anything required. In other words, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. There are no extra cops. There's no extra rules. There's no extra anything. Nothing is required. Everything's voluntary. I'm changing the environment so that people can thrive. That's the goal. Change the environment so that people can thrive. No extra rules. No one's going to jail. No extra fines and fees. Nothing. No extra centralization. None of that. I hope I answered that question. Oh, it didn't cover UBI. I got to cover UBI. Sorry. Okay. If we don't do something, we are going to go to UBI. And how it's going to work, and Lars brought it up because Lars knows. He's been talking about this also. How it's going to work is this. Going to do things like this as an example. Next year, when people lose even more jobs because of AI, people are going to be going on unemployment. And as they go on unemployment, and like, oh, you know what? Let's just extend unemployment for a year or whatever rule they do. And now we'll start here extending unemployment. Well, now I'm going to get mad. Well, why is Mike getting unemployment and I got to work? He's been unemployed for 2 years. I want my cut. Okay, Larry, we'll give you supplemental employment check, whatever they're going to call it, right? Whatever it is. And then Mark goes, well, I got a business. How come I don't get it? Okay, Mark, we'll give you business owner supplemental, whatever. They'll make that up too. And all of a sudden, all three of us are getting some kind of check. Well, now we're all getting a check. Well, now we just extend it. Well, now Mark's going, well, if I keep getting checks, maybe I don't got to work as hard. And I goes, why? I'm going to quit. I'm going to hang out with Mike. We're going to hang out. We're going to do Capitalist Corner 2 every day from 2 to 4. We're done. Why am I going to bother? I'm getting my check. And all of a sudden I stop working too. And more people come in. And before you know it, everyone's getting some kind of check. Now, what does that mean? The next piece is, hey, you know what? The dollar isn't worth anything. It's worth garbage because we just keep printing it. So you're going to take this new digital dollar we have. And Mark's going to go, but wait a minute, that's a CBDC. That's wrong. Yeah, but you're kind of tied to us, Mark. You haven't worked in a year, and you've been sucking off the teat for a while, and we're only giving the money in CBDC. That's what we're doing. So you get that or nothing. And Mike's like, I ain't worked in 10 years. And I'll be like, I ain't worked in 5. I can't go back to work. I guess I'll take my CBDC now. And before you know it, it's UBI and CBDC and all bad. We have to stop that because that's the future. How do we stop that? Ownership. We are a consumer-driven society. We must be an ownership-driven society. Ownership is everything. In that case, I'm with the socialists. In that case, they want worker co-ops, worker ownership. I'm in. As much ownership as possible. And we change that in many ways. One of the ways we begin this, and again, this is a long-term answer. It's not a short-term. We begin this with public housing. Public housing should be pushed to be rent-to-own in every case, to the best of our ability. Rent-to-own, rent-to-own. People get mad at me. Larry, but some of those people are getting Section 8 housing and we're paying for the rent. We're going to pay for them to own that building? Okay, we can pay for them to own it, or we can pay their rent forever. Or we can give them the opportunity of ownership. They can own it faster, giving them an incentive to go to work and pay it off so they can own it faster. Gentrification is only a problem when you're a renter. When you're an owner, gentrification is great. So let's make more people owners starting just there. But I'm still not done. AI is going to hammer us next year. And I've been talking this for years. The way we fix it is at the local level. We're not going to be able to stop AI. I know people can't stand to get mad. AI is bad. AI is not going to stop because AI is a weapon system. That's the reality of it. AI is the equivalent of nuclear bombs or machine guns or whatever. It's what it is. There's no way we were going to stop nuclear bombs and go, well, let's regulate nuclear bombs. Let the Soviets or the Nazis get it first. That was never going to happen. We're going to get nuclear bombs as fast as we can. We're going to get AI as fast as we possibly can. It's going to happen. Why? It's going to be, it runs half of our finance already, and it will soon run the battlefield. We'll see it in Ukraine. It will soon run the battlefield soon. Once it runs the battlefield, once it runs the finances, that's the end. It now becomes a weapon of mass destruction, meaning that I could destroy an economy with AI in 6 months, probably 3 months to be forward. Well, how do I stop someone from destroying our economy? The same way every weapon of mass destruction goes. If they attack mine, I'll attack theirs. Mutual assured destruction is the only way of stopping weapons of mass destruction. We've seen that with chemical weapons. We no longer use them. We've seen that with en masse, at least. We don't use that with nuclear weapons. We don't see that. We said also AI will be no difference. So how do we control it then? If it is inevitable, how do we control it? We control it through energy, because what it needs more than anything else is energy. How do we do that? Co-op ownership of nuclear power plants across New York State. Most people are worried or scared about nuclear power plants, or worried about data centers, or worried about blockchain mining. I get it. A blockchain mining facility in your county, or a data processing in your county, maybe produces 10 jobs, maybe, if we're lucky, and sucks up all your energy and makes your energy costs expensive. I wouldn't want one either. But instead, I pop a nuclear power plant. New York State is about 13 spots right now that are decommissioned old, like coal plants, stuff like that. We could pop a nuclear power plant there within 2 years, up and running, probably within a year, up and running. But we do it 50% owned by the company. The land is only leased by the government. That's it. The government does not own the facility at all. It just leases out the land so the government gets money from it. Privately owned 50%, 50% owned by the local community municipality. What does that mean? They have voting rights, not just that they have ownership rights. So at the end of every year, just like Alaska, again, we're copying the model that already exists. Alaska, they all get a cut from the energy that they sell. All the people in Alaska, about $1,000 a year, if I'm not mistaken, but what they get in Alaska. Same thing will happen on local municipality. So now all of a sudden, as this nuclear power plant's cranking out energy and it's selling energy and making money, now local people say, wait a minute, we just got a windfall. Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want to, fund a local municipal credit union to make cheap loans for farmers and small businesses? Okay. Or do you want to just do you want to have a fund, like a sovereign fund for your community where you can fix the roads and make better daycare or make better schools, whatever? Okay. Do you just want to have a UBI, a local UBI that's not paid by taxpayer dollars, that's paid for by this nuclear power plant? Everyone gets a check like the Alaskans get every year. Okay. You pick what you want. You have power. Not just that. Now, do I want to have a blockchain mining facility in my town? Hell yeah, I do. Do I want a data processing center in my town? Hell yeah, I do. Why? Because as they go into this town, they're buying up energy. As they're buying energy, I'm getting a cut. I don't mind. I'm getting better roads or better schools, or I'm getting a check, or I'm getting cheap housing, cheap loans so I can buy a house. I'm getting whatever I want. I'm happy to have it. I have ownership, but not just that. What happens if all of a sudden this AI group or this other group decides we're going to do some shady stuff? Cut the power off. The only way to control AI is someone has to be able to pull a plug. And I don't want 6 of the wealthiest, most powerful people on the planet be the only people who can pull a plug. I would rather have a whole lot of people being able to pull a plug. That's the issue. So yeah, it is very important that we do that. Anyway, that's how you handle the UBI issue, by ownership in homes, ownership in nuclear power plants, ownerships in local hospitals. You want to have what's called universal basic assets, right? So that people have assets within their local community, bringing them together to work and care. Most people don't bother voting. Most people don't care. But all of a sudden now, we got that check that came in from a nuclear power plant. It's $150K. What are we going to do with it? Well, show up and vote. Do you want more roads? Do you want a better school? Do you want a check? What do you want? Do you want to put more money into our local bank so we can get some more small businesses on Main Street? Does that matter to you? Then let's fix Main Street. Stop talking trash and staying home on your phone. Show up locally and meet some people and care about your local community. What is going to save us from AI is community. What is going to save us from the world ending is community. What's going to save us from the loneliness that's destroying us is community. What's going to have us stopping to beg for some strong man, some socialist, some authoritarian is community. So I have to create an environment where community can thrive.
Mark, you got a question?
No.
Okay.
Although Deeper Diego said, yeah, but nuclear is anti-environment because meltdowns killed 6 billion people in the 80s.
Well, yes, people do believe that. That's true. People do believe that. He's right. People believe that. The reality of it is, if you go to another next level, which is Gen 4 nuclear energy, thorium, the Chinese have already built between, I think, 5 or 10 of them already. These cannot melt down. It is physically impossible to melt down. So you can go Gen 4 if you want to, or if you want speed, there's actually smaller reactors you can put together. You can tie like 4 or 5 together. Modules, you can pop them together and knock them out in probably 2 years, maybe a year even. The only issue would be, how do you defend against the federal government? That's why you require a governor who will say, federal government, go to hell. I don't care. I don't want your money. Unless you're prepared to literally put troops and to have, you won't have my national guard because I wouldn't let you. Unless you're prepared to have foreign National Guard troops come into my state and guard the perimeter, unless you're ready to do that, I'm building. I don't care what you say. I'm building. But we'll sue you, Larry. Good. You'll sue me, and I'll keep it in court for 5 years. By that time, my plant's built and rock and roll, and nobody cares.
All right. I have 2 questions. One is from me and one is from the chat. I'll ask mine first because I hold myself in more importance than everybody else. What are the chances you get on the debate stage?
If I do decide to take the Republican ticket, 100%. Because
I
will, depends how much money I raise. The press decides that I am valid based upon the amount of money I raise. It doesn't matter. My ideas are irrelevant. The fact that I'm insanely good looking, irrelevant. What matters is how much money do I raise. That's how they judge me. So if I'm able to raise enough money, well, I guess I gotta mention the matching funds. I've got matching funds. All right.
You did.
So let me walk down those 2 roads. Thank you for that question. If I go after the Republican nomination, I will be on the debate stage with Blakeman, assuming he doesn't run away crying and just drop out once he sees how powerful I am. And he might. It's possible. But if he doesn't do that, then I'll be in the debate stage with him, which will embarrass him and he will go away crying. And I think that we need to have probably some type of mental health people there once this ends, because it will be bad once that's done. So I will be for that. And then if I win the Republican primary, I'll be debating Kathy Hochul. So it's 100% if I go for the Republican nomination. If I don't, the question is how much money I raise. Now, New York State has what's called matching funds. The number one reason why Mamdani won, and this is the funny piece, the reason why he actually won wasn't because he was savvy and very charismatic. He is those 2 things. He's very charismatic. That's true. But he won because of matching funds. New York City has 8-to-1 matching funds. New York City wrote him a check for $12 million.
What?
I'm not making, yes, Mark, I'm not playing. Literally, New York State wrote him a check. Check it. You can just Google it. New York City wrote him a check for $12 million. If you write me a check, anyone listening, if you want to write me a check for $12 million, I guarantee you I'm the governor of New York. Anyone wants to write me a check for $12 million, I'll give you the money back if I'm not governor of New York. I will guarantee you I'm governor of New York if you want to give me $12 million. So, of course, he was able to do that. So, but New York State does have matching funds, a little different than New York City. New York State's matching funds are 6-1. So if I'm able to raise $500,000 from 5,000 New Yorkers, then New York State will write me a check for $3 million. I'm not joking. And then for every $100,000 I raise, New York State will give me $600,000.
Oh my Lord.
So if I raise another $1 million, they'll give me $6 million. If I make matching funds, Michael, 100% I'll be on the debate stage.
Now, with the matching funds, right, you can't like just get one $12 million donation from one person. They actually have to divvy it up, right?
Yes, they make insanely stupid rules that are all arbitrary, like New York always does. How New York works is, here's how it works. You have to be a New York State resident, number one, which is fine. You can give me money if you're not. If anyone's listening wants to give me money, LarrySharpe.com/donate. Please give me money. It doesn't matter. I need to raise money anyway. But any money you give me from outside New York State, I will use that money to get people in New York State to give me money, right? That's how I will use your out-of-state money. So please still give me money. All right, any case. So if you give $5 or more, they will match it. Under 5, they won't. If you give, but they will only match up to $250. So if you give me $255, they will match $250. So $250 times 6, $1,500. Is that right? Is my math right? Is my right? Yeah. So what happens if you give me $250, they will give me $1,500. If you give me $300, they will give me $1,500 because they will only match $250. Now, if you go over 1,000, they will match 0. But you cannot give more than 9,000. These are all arbitrary numbers they just pulled out of their ass. Like they're just, how about, like they were like smoking something, like, hey, how about 9,000? Perfect, 9,000. It's good, like 9. 9's a good number. That's great, $9,000. Right. But what if they give like too much? What's too much? I don't know, like $1,000 too much. That was it. That's what happened. Yeah, but it's a lot. Well, like 250. That's what happened. That's literally how it happened. All arbitrary numbers make no sense whatsoever, but that's the rule. So if you give me $1,100, they will match nothing. If you give me $1,000, they'll match $250.
Crazy.
All right. The last question that I have, and we're getting close to the end here, is Lady Liberty or Liberty Lady in the chat asked you about your thoughts on Dexter Taylor and if you will be doing anything about that.
Dexter Taylor, as many people listening know, was one of the most embarrassing things that New York State has ever done. Very embarrassing. And I mean that seriously. I'm not joking when I say that. Dexter Taylor, for those you don't know, was a literally just an engineer by trade. Brooklyn guy, father for a young teenage girl. And he was thinking, do I want to become a gunsmith? So he legally buys, again, legally, openly, with credit card, right, online, he buys gun parts. Legally, I'm very clear. He legally buys gun parts online with a credit card and starts putting them together. Why? He's an engineer, trained professional engineer. So he's decided, does he want to become a gunsmith? This is him testing himself to see if he can make a career change. Guy's in his late 40s trying to figure out if he wants to make a career change or not. That's what he's doing, making his change, right? Whatever, doing that. So he's doing that. Of course, the FBI and the federal government, they just look at stuff and go, oh, wait a minute, someone's buying stuff. Clearly, he's a criminal. Literally, they kick in his door. I'm not joking, in the middle of the morning, like he's a criminal, with a SWAT team, arrest him because Kathy Hochul, my governor, Queen Kathy, first of her name, worshiper of the jab, banisher of conservatives, she decided that she is now going to, make ghost guns illegaler. Now, while I disagree, I understand why you would say, I don't want you to sell a gun without a serial number, right? While I disagree, I understand, at least I can understand that, right? I get where your head is when you're saying that. Okay, I get it. Hers is, you can't even have one. Like, you have one. He just had it. He was putting it together to see if it would work. Did he like it? Does he want to do this? So he went to prison. I'm sorry, he went to court. And when he was being sentenced, and when he was being, with his verdict, the judge said, "Don't bring the Second Amendment in my courtroom."
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
This is you can look this up. I'm not making this up. Look this up. And her punishment was nothing. His punishment, 10 years in prison. No victim,
Wow.
no selling, no nothing. He's a father. And but to be clear, he's a black guy from Brooklyn. Democrats love black people, I thought. I thought they hated taking fathers out of the family. I thought they hated that shit. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Something's wrong, Michael.
Yeah,
Could the Democrats be lying to me? No way.
I'm familiar with the story. And so I knew he was a black guy. And that's what came to my mind. Well, wait a second. Where's all the outrage about this excessive sentence? I mean, I've been hearing about disproportionate sentencing for over a quarter century.
Oh, yeah.
But evidently, when it applies to gun rights, no. Get rid of them, send them to jail.
So now he went to jail, and why it was so embarrassing is that judge took an oath to the Constitution. That's what she said. She did. And then she said, "Don't bring the Bill of Rights in my courtroom." Well, where should the Bill of Rights be if not in a courtroom? Is there some other place it should be that I don't know about? Like, if you're going to have a Bill of Rights, it kind of should be in a courtroom. Like, that's the place for it. Like, literally the place for it. And she said, Bill of Rights? No, you don't get to have that here. This is New York State. It's the Bill of Suggestions. Okay. Don't get ahead of yourself. It's the Bill of Suggestions.
And that reminds me of the hell's the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, where they're talking about their rules. He says they're really just guidelines.
There we go. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Guidelines. That's all. Yeah. It's the Bill of Rights. The Bill of, what are you gonna do? It's the Bill of that. We'll see. And that was my point on politics. Politics doesn't have any rules. It's the mob. Do you have leverage? Yes. You have no leverage to get rid of a judge. Therefore, it doesn't matter. It is irrelevant what she does. It is irrelevant how she acts. She's not beholden to anything. This is the part of our judges that we have across the country, but my state's really bad. Our judges are demigods. They are not held accountable by anybody, and they're not even loyal to the Constitution. They don't have to be. Because of how our system works, they are loyal to the party infrastructure. The party infrastructure gets them elected if they're elected, or selected if they're appointed. It's the party infrastructure. So they are loyal to the party infrastructure, which is why when my brain dead chimps that are in my assembly make absolutely horrible unconstitutional laws, the judges go, "Oh, that's a terrible law." And they go, "Shh, you want to keep your job?" And the judge goes, "I'd like to keep my job." Then shut up.
Don't bring the Constitution in my courtroom.
Don't do that, because that might mean the Democratic or Republican Party might not do well, and we can't have that. So let's get rid of this stupid Constitution, get in the way. We don't want that thing. So yes.
Larry, thank you so much for taking an hour out of your day to be with us here. Where can people find you?
You can check me out on all the Larry Sharpe things. I'm LarrySharpe.com. You can go to Larry Sharpe YouTube, Larry Sharpe Twitter. I'm the most popular Larry Sharpe in the country. So yes, Google Larry Sharpe, you'll see me. There was one, by the way, who was more popular than me. In the 70s, there was a wrestler called Pretty Boy Larry Sharpe. True, I used to watch him when I was a kid. And he was more popular than me, but sadly in 2018, he passed away. And when he passed away in 2018, I became the most popular Larry Sharpe in the country.
Oh, well, good for you. That's good news for you. Bad news for him.
Yes, or for his family. I don't want the guy to pass, but I didn't do it, so it's not my fault. I didn't do it.
I don't know. You might not have a defense in a New York courtrum if you plan on bringing that Constitution.
That's true.
All right. Capitalist thought of the day is this. I love principles. I love ideals. I love ideas. They're very important. But at the end of the day, if we're ever going to get capitalism implemented, we need to get people elected. We need to get people in office that can change the laws, that can make the appointments, that can get the right judges in there. That's what we need. Unfortunately, politics, as dirty as it is necessary. So if you're watching, get out there, run for office, donate to the best candidates you can, help out, and join the American Capitalist Party, because we are going to eventually become the most popular Liberty Party. Like Larry Sharpe has become the most popular Larry Sharpe, we will be the most popular liberty-based party. Mark, ask him the question, tell him to go to YouTube and all that.
Well, I also look forward to a Capitalist Party endorsement of Mr. Sharpe, because I loved what you were saying out there. We need more of you in the political world. And we would be living in a very different culture if that were the case. So I think the question of the day should be, should we have Larry Sharpe on again and multiple times? Please answer that on YouTube, and make sure to like and subscribe to the station, because these ideas, the things that Larry's talking about, need to be out there in the world. We are the counterculture, folks. The culture is statists. We are individualists, and we are trying to make individualism sexy again, because it's super sexy, folks. Don't forget that. Okay, so Michael, what you're going to say?
I'm going to say this. I figured, Mark, because we had talked about the endorsement, that's actually what you wanted to confab with me about before the show. So I wasn't going to mention it, but I will personally, not as part of the party, because I'm guessing we have to go through a meeting. I personally will endorse Larry Sharpe for governor of New York. So, yes, libertarian. And I get with our audience that Larry Sharpe is the real deal. He would be the best governor of New York. We need it. So I will endorse him.
You're pushing the needle in the right direction, Larry.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
Remember to join us tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here talking about the whole year in news. We'll be reviewing the news and our perspective from an individualist, capitalist perspective. Make sure to check your premises in the meantime, folks. We'll see you.
Oh, hold on real quickly. I'm being yelled at by the chat. Larry also has his own show, The Sharpe Way, and he has a live episode tonight at 7.
That's true. 7 p.m. tonight. I will have a live show if you want to come back and chat. It's going to be probably like some kind of year-end show or something. We'll figure it out. It'll be fun. Come chat. It's live. It's 2 hours and it's live.
Thanks, Larry.
See you tomorrow.
Peace.